Welcome back to Uplift Women's Wellness. I'm Bethany Bush, and with my co-host, Aria Zahed, we are diving headfirst into Season 2.
Last season, we cracked open necessary conversations: friendships, money, representation, mental health, medical abuse, and so much more. Thank you for making space for your healing.
This season is not getting any lighter. It's getting even more gritty, more honest, and more demanding of change. Because we know what it's like to feel dismissed, unheard, or stuck in the dark.
We're here to give you the honest dialogue and awareness to finally bring you out of the maze and back to your center. From reclaiming your financial power to healing your nervous system, we are demanding more for you.
This is our table, and you are always welcome here. Let's start the conversation. Okay, today we have an extra special guest that we met not too long ago because everyone knows that I dabble in nutrition and I've studied it and I'm a coach. We have an actual licensed registered dietitian, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
On our show today, who's going to introduce himself and talk about like his process, how he got to where he is. He also has a much different twist and take based on his background so that you don't have to give up the foods that you grew up loving and how to integrate them into your current life. So Loshi, take it away and tell us who you are and what you do and how you came about this.
Okay, I love this. Thank you everyone for having me. My name is Loshi Vue. I'm a registered dietitian originally from Minnesota. I became a dietitian because of my relationship with food growing up. I am a Hmong-American. And I grew up as an athlete, originally played competitive soccer throughout my childhood and even through college. And during that time too, I developed some body image issues where I was always trying to achieve a certain physique. And after years of struggling and becoming a dietitian, actually I became a dietitian because I wanted to improve my performance in the soccer. After becoming a dietitian, I realized that there was so much more to food than just trying to improve your physique and just trying to build a certain look and trying to, performing well is so important, but there's got to be a balance with the inclusion of your favorite foods, cultural foods, because it affects the relationships you have with yourself and the people you surround yourself with, right? And being a person that is very community oriented, community focused, that was definitely something I kind of had to learn and go through myself of balancing. So I started my own private practice in 2023 after working as a clinical dietitian for a bit. And my focus was helping people improve their relationship with food while simultaneously still helping them address any health issues they have, whether that's weight management, diabetes, PCOS, hypertension, cholesterol reduction, heart disease, you name it. A lot of that has also been teaching people from an education standpoint how these foods affect us, how they affect certain labs, health risk factors, and so forth. And I think what I enjoy most about my job is really breaking down everyone's day to day and understanding where they come from, what they like, what they don't like, and just helping people, I guess, realize their potential that they have with their food, with their relationship with food, and I guess just their overall health in general too. Because health is very multifactorial. It's not just your physical health. There's the mental health aspect to it as well too. So thank you for having me on this podcast today, guys. I'm definitely very honored to be here. So
we're very grateful to have you.
Yes, very grateful. That was so helpful. And it helped me because I don't know that much about nutrition. So it's nice to hear the background and why someone would go into that field. But also it's really interesting from a perspective of mental health and physical health. Because I think in our general society, it's more like, look fit, look skinny, don't get fat, blah, blah, blah. But there's millions of other reasons why you need to work on what you eat and what you put into your body. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think people would just focus on the physical side of things, and people just like often oversimplify that people just need to work harder, be more disciplined. And I've heard that so many times when people aren't looking at the other side of that person's lives where they're managing. Maybe they got like 5 kids. Maybe they don't make money. Maybe they only get like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night and they don't have time to be working out. So it's a balance for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Because Aria brought up, like, no one realized this is the true facets of what this takes and what it can be. Can you speak to a little bit of this wonderful thing that we have called the internet that everybody goes to for any and all everythings, including mental health help, including physical health help, including nutrition? Can you please explain to us why that's a very bad idea and you're going to get 15,000 different things that aren't tailored to you?
Yeah, no, I am definitely guilty of this too. Like you grow up, you have access to Google, there's WebMD, you want to be a doctor yourself and self-diagnose. Like, I think everyone's guilty of this, of being like, oh, what does a headache mean? And then you end up searching a million things and finding out that you diagnose yourself with, let's say, cancer, right? So it can spiral really quickly, and there is definitely such an important need for personalization, understanding what it is exactly that you are having, because Google is good at, finding a million answers to a million different things, but they don't ask you specific questions that a provider would be more, prepared or trained to ask that's specific to your case and your background and your history and so forth. It's definitely an ongoing problem. And I think it's even more of a problem now because we have so many fitness influencers, people trying to be, the know-it-all, and you got AI as well too. I can't tell you the amount of times that people have come to me and said, oh yeah, well, ChatGPT said this and ChatGPT said that.
Same.
And I'm like, well, ChatGPT is not a licensed doctor. Yeah. And I don't know. Have you guys gotten that as well too?
Oh, yeah. I get it. Well, I looked up on ChatGPT, or I got served this on TikTok. What do you think? And like, thankfully they come and ask me. They don't just implement whatever they saw. Like, yeah, I was asking ChatGPT about blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh. That's like, what did ChatGPT tell you?
Yeah, I think it's also tough because, fitness and wellness, the whole culture always focuses on the most efficient, quickest way to do something for your health. And they will just blatantly label that as like the best as well. And it's really tough because, you get people that are naturally drawn to these things, like diets, for example, fad diets. There's a reason why keto and carnivore and intermittent fasting diets are so interesting to people. You can take any set of numbers, you can take any set of rules and say, this is the way to eat. And it's so much more entertaining and so much more marketable than saying, hey, let's eat more fruits and vegetables. Let's go work out, because who wants to listen to that advice? It's boring, but it's the foundation, right? It's the foundation of healthy living, right?
Well, I feel like all three of us, our fields are kind of dismissed as anybody can do it, or I don't need to see you to take care of myself. I feel like someone will respect a physician or an MD rather than someone like any of us, because they just look at it as like, well, I can find that on the internet. Like, and there's stories of like, well, just go to me for a little while because like, just save what I do and then you're just set. Like, just write down all the workouts and then you don't need to go back to her and keep wasting that money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like things with like training, for example, there's such an important nuance of like form to prevent injuries and to be able to progress. that people often overlook, right? For sure. I think it's just also like understanding the value of credentials over the years, with more and more people saying, giving out free advice online, trying to be, again, fitness influencers. It really devalues the credentials. I cannot tell you the amount of competition I have as a dietitian with people who just claim themselves to be a nutritionist, a nutrition expert, but with no credentials and no like evidence-based backgrounds to help, support their grounds. So that's happened so many times, and it's definitely frustrating because we get people that are very confused all the time.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. For you, Loshi, before we go further, can you explain like what you did need to do to be credentialed, just so people see the difference between you and like a nutrition influencer?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. I often forget to mention that because, I don't know, it was just something I did and I thought it was a normal thing. And I realized no one knows it. To become a registered dietitian, you do have to, at the time when I became one, it was a bachelor's degree that was required in nutrition and dietetics, followed by a 1,500-hour dietetic internship. I believe it was 1,500. It's been a while. So don't quote me on that. And it was at least 1,000. But you do a series of rotations in different fields, including community, food service, and clinical. And there is, depending on the internship structure, an option for specialties such as leadership, sports nutrition, and so forth. I did mine in Minnesota. And I did mine during the pandemic actually too. So that was definitely an experience. Nowadays, and then after the internship, you do have to sit to take a registered dietitian exam based on your experience that you learned during those rotations. And it is a very rigorous exam. I cannot tell you how nervous I was. It was probably the hardest test I've ever taken in my life. So, and I've also been an EMT as well too. I was an EMT before I became a registered dietitian too. And the EMT test was really hard. Lots of different tests, and the journey to become a registered dietitian has even become harder now. They now put a requirement of having a master's in nutrition and dietetics in order to get the dietetic internship and then to be able to take the exam. So, quite the process. Yeah.
Very rigorous. So, congratulations to you, Loshi.
I did want to clarify, I just wanted to add there too, that technically, I don't know if you guys knew this, but nutritionists, there is no credential behind it. Anyone can actually call themselves a nutritionist. There's nothing that prevents people from saying, hey, I'm a nutritionist. No law, nothing like that. Like certified ones, I think, are a little bit different, but even then, their requirements are a lot different from what we have to go through.
I got the credentials so that I could say that I'm certified in nutrition because, nothing in my schooling says that I took nutrition and I chose that path. So I got one of those certifications just to put some letters behind the fact of yes, I've studied both undergrad and graduate level nutrition on top of all of my certifications require a nutrition component as well because they require a bachelor's degree in exercise science or, physiology or kines or something.
Yeah, I think at least you're doing that, I feel like there's people that just say they're nutritionists based on their own story, their own background. Very anecdotal stuff, and we know how that goes usually. So,
yeah, and I was actually really appreciating what you were saying earlier, Loshi, where everyone's story and background is different, and everyone's health needs are different. And so, I feel like because you were trained and you did clinical rounds, you understand that you have to work with each individual person. You can't create a nutrition sheet and hand it out to everyone like they're equal. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't give out generic nutrition meal plans at all, actually. A lot of my work involves really getting to know what people like to eat, what they don't like to eat, what they consistently eat, and how we can consistently integrate healthy foods in, right? Working out, right? You have to be consistent with it. in order to see the results, right? So, or in order to get the benefits or the consistent benefit of feeling better, being able to move better, have less pain, and so forth. So definitely apply that same concept when it comes to teaching nutrition as well.
Very important.
I think a lot of it is also just like basing it off of what the individual's goals are too, you know? Like if they have a medical reason to be avoiding your food, then yeah, no, that makes a little bit more sense. If they have let's say a weight goal, yes, things are going to look a little bit differently, and the trajectory of their path looks a little bit differently too, depending on how aggressive they want to be with it, or if they want to take their time and still enjoy the foods that they enjoy too. Ultimately, I just want my clients to feel empowered in their decision and understand what they're doing is helpful or isn't as helpful. But it's just kind of having a more neutral approach or a neutral perspective on like food, not labeling food as good or bad, because it's that happens all the time, right?
Yeah, seriously.
So, I'm sure you guys get that as well too. So, and I feel like I'm also guilty of it too. It's just like diet culture. Like, you know, sometimes you just inherently view food as good or bad, but I don't think that's necessarily true. Some things may not be as helpful for a certain condition, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're inherently bad. So,
and if you don't know what diet culture is, Bethany went off on an entire rant in season 1 about toxic diet culture. So if you want to go back and learn about diet culture that Loshi just mentioned, I went off on it because I don't like it.
No, it's definitely, I think it's just because of the internet, it's become more of a problem.
Well, and TV shows too. You know, you've got like Biggest Loser, you've got like Extreme Makeover, you've got like all those different, everything out there telling us we're not enough. We're not good enough. There's something wrong with you. There's always something that we're being judged for.
And it's just tough because all of those shows are always catered towards, how do you lose weight the fastest? How do you change the way you look the fastest? It's never been about, how do we make people feel better faster? How do we make people feel good and empowered? But again, I feel like it comes down to the marketing thing. Which one's more appealing? Which one's more marketable, right?
Well,
it's seemingly more marketable. What was it?
Clickbait.
Yeah. Yeah, clickbait. Yeah. So I think it's tough because mental health is only becoming more and more widely accepted and normalized too, you know, in the sadly recent like decade or so. I had also had to normalize it for myself, mental health, going to therapy. Over the last 10 years, I had to normalize it for my loved ones as well too. And like, it's such an important part of our life. And I feel like this is namely very, very difficult for immigrant populations as well too, which is something I very often work with. So having those conversations. I'm sure that you struggle with that too, Aria.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, Loshi, because actually, if you could speak on that a little bit, like being an immigrant and being a children of immigrants, what makes those populations nervous about talking about mental health? Because I feel like I kind of know the answer from like a Persian Indian perspective. And obviously, you know, from like I don't know how to word it, but like mental health isn't real perspective that I think is across pretty much everyone I've met who's a child of immigrants. Their parents have a harder time. Like, don't spend money on therapy. You can work on your mental health, or even just like suck it up. There's more important things in life. Just like push through, right? But can you talk about it from your end, Loshi? Because this is only my experience so far.
So, yeah, I will speak from being a child of immigrants. My family is Hmong. My parents migrated from Laos and Thailand. And I think having migrated and being focused on survival, you don't really think about how you mentally feel. You just kind of push through to physically survive, right? So that whole mental health side of us and my parents definitely was neglected. And I think it's definitely it's definitely prevalent among other Hmong families too. Everyone's just always focused on surviving, being the best, and making the most money so that you can provide and give to your offspring. That's what we've always been about. And I think being introduced to like Western society, there's just so many other factors and so many other things that we struggle and we just don't know how to talk about because we're not given the chance or opportunity to have those conversations about our emotions and how we feel about growing up, I wasn't asked how I felt about class. I wasn't asked how I felt about taking certain classes or how I felt about doing well in soccer, and so forth. It was just, you did it and you moved on. Yeah, I think maybe it's just, I don't know how to put it into words, but maybe it is just like the focus on like survival, physical survival, rather than your mental side. And then it's almost like a privilege. I'm not gonna lie. For immigrants especially, it's not something that we get to talk about. It's not something that we get to talk about until it becomes an issue. But all we can do is just kind of raise awareness. I think I try my best to encourage my loved ones to go, my family, my cousins, everyone I love too, that I feel like could just benefit from having a little bit more of an emotional talk. It doesn't have to be, oh, we're breaking down in tears, but it could be, hey, how are you feeling about this? I recently was talking to a friend who told me that she wanted to start treating her friendships like she does her romantic relationship. Just having communications of saying, hey, how are you feeling about this? What ways can I show up for you? And what ways can I get you to show up for me too? These are the ways I want you to show up for me. And I was like, that was really powerful. I was like, those aren't conversations you have with your brother, your sister, your best friends. It just, I don't know. I think that really resonated with me and made me really go, oh, I want to do this too. I really, because I value these relationships and.
Actually, that's so beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that story.
Yeah, no, of course. But to go back to answering your question, yeah, I think it's the survival thing. We're focused on survival. Did you have things to add too?
No, I think that's probably what it is. And, in my particular cultures, like you were also saying, Loshi, it's about like, your survival is also make money. So, and it's like gaining resources, I guess, so you can create a better life for your kids. So that, so it's like, it is survival, but it's also like, there's like a push where you're almost so busy, you can't even think about yourself, but that's what they want because they're trying to set you up for adulthood.
Yeah, and I think I never blame my parents for that too. I think some family dynamics are a lot worse because their circumstances are a lot worse as well too. Their pressure is a lot more, and then that pressure is very much the same thing that eats away at someone's mental health as well too. So
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So it needs to be, but like you were saying, Loshi, like mental health in the last decade is changing. So I think ideally, it won't just be a privileged thing anymore to go to therapy. Everyone's going to be working on their mental health alongside going to school or alongside following their dreams or in their families. The parents are going to start talking to their children about how they feel. So
yeah, what would be great? Like, I think universal free therapy that's covered by the government, that would be amazing.
Yes, that would be the best. That'd be fantastic.
As long as it takes care of the providers too.
Oh yeah, mental health. I mean, I feel like, you were saying compensation wise, 100%. Yes. It is a very demanding job. For sure.
Yes, and I know the back end of the insurance side from having Aria and then my own therapist and multiple friends who have experienced working and going through insurances and how they are not taken care of or respected by those companies. And so I would also, because I'm super anti-insurance, but just because the person who's doing all the work doesn't get taken care of for doing all the work. Because it's like, you're only this, so we're only going to pay you this. So when we do switch to a universal healthcare theme, when that happens, when someone pulls their head out of their ass and that happens, I just also want to make sure that all of us that are physiologists, dietitians, nutrition experts, mental health experts are also considered in the 6, figure higher bracket, like those that cut into people and take things out. What about those of us that give back and put things into humans?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. People deserve to get paid for their time to help others. Like, that's where the money should be, because it's a very mentally demanding, emotionally demanding job, so.
Well, like you spoke to, all three of us, we've spent a ton of time in school. We've spent a ton of time gaining hours. I spent a ton of money on letters, and it's like, give us the respect that we're owed rather than some influencer who can make $1 million in a month because they said, here, drink this thing. And it's like, okay, it's going to cause, diarrhea and bloating and headaches and migraines, but you're going to lose 5 pounds. So like those of us that are just like, give us the respect that we're owed, because there's a reason why we do what we do. Like, we all have a story deep inside of us for why we became what we became and what we do. And I just feel like an overall respect, both from clients, from other practitioners, from the healthcare industry, would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, no, I strongly agree. Yeah, again, I think it's like the marketing thing, right? Like, oh, these things look way better. They're way better clickbait. And unfortunately, we can't really change that. So
speaking of, because a lot of that clickbait is to stir up people's like lack of self-esteem and make people feel worse. So Loshi, when you were doing your intro, you were talking about like lower self-esteem and body image issues. So can you talk about how you healed yourself? Like what that journey looked like?
Yeah, so I noticed these issues. I think sadly I didn't notice these issues until after I became a dietitian. And, I'm from Minnesota. And it's not that Minnesota is not healthy. Broadly, that's very broadly in general. But in comparison to Southern California, where we get sun all the time, and is warm year-round or warm enough year-round, we are not nearly as active in Minnesota. And so health isn't necessarily a strong focal point. And so when I moved down to California, I was kind of exposed a lot more to people who were really aggressive with their diets, aggressive to their lifestyles, their training, and so forth. And I was like, oh, this is how it is. And I'm like, okay, well, I can try to keep up with this. And it's not like I surrounded myself with other people. I think I just found it more naturally. I naturally heard it more in conversations, with people at work, with friends of friends. I would hear people say, I tried this, I tried that, and so forth. And honestly, as a dietitian, I didn't even know some of the things they were saying. So I'm like, that's interesting. That is weird. I've never heard of that before. I think I just kind of found myself in a headspace where I was always just trying to improve my physique during that time, get better, look more fit. And then one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I said the same thing I said to myself like 5 years ago. I said, just a little bit more, just a little bit farther. And I think, so many people can probably relate to that. It was definitely a tough realization that I went and made me go, how much further though? Because I've definitely made so much progress. I definitely feel so good, feel a lot better than where I was. And, but at this point, I feel like this is just taking away at so many other aspects of my life. I have less time. I've so restricted with my diet. I'm working out 2 times a day. And I'm like, this is really exhausting. I feel like I have no headspace to think about anything else. And so that's when I sought therapy. And it was definitely a battle. I think I realized this is back in 2021, and it's still a battle today. You know, like I went to therapy, I had conversations about my body image for like 3-4 years, and I think even now I still have those things. I think it wasn't all. It was, my objective wasn't necessarily to eliminate this thing as a problem entirely, because it's also very difficult to do that. And sometimes it could just be really unrealistic. And so I think I just wanted to improve my relationship with food and get better. And so I can more confidently say these are the things that are affecting my health, and I'm okay with this. I'm okay with being less restrictive with my diet, so I can spend Thursday night having some chips with my girlfriend and watching some TV, you know, because that time I value it more than what I'm trying to achieve with my physique. Yeah, I hope that paints a good picture as to, you know, how I went through my journey. And again, like I mentioned, I'm still going through it. Like, sometimes I still think about it. Never really goes away, but it is definitely a lot more quiet than it used to be. And for me, that's a sign of progress.
We are going to take a quick pause from today's conversation, but we want to use this moment to remind you why Head to Toe Strength does this work.
Our mission was born from my lived experience. I was disowned for who I loved, dismissed and harmed by medical bias, and worked inside fitness centers that only push diet culture over real care.
Head to Toe Strength exists to build the kind of support you need right now. A place where every body, every identity, and every story is fully seen, heard, and supported.
If you are ready to move from feeling stuck and unseen to a place of genuine, holistic strength, if you're ready to stop just surviving and start thriving, we are ready to guide you.
Visit headtotoestrength.com today to book a free introductory call with our team and start your journey with us. That's headtotoestrength.com.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No, thanks for giving me the space to share that. It's definitely always a vulnerable thing to talk about, right? So yes. I appreciate the space for that too.
Yes, Loshi. Yeah, and then on the women's side of things, body image issues are constant. Everyone I've ever met has been struggling since they were children with their bodies, which is extremely sad. But how do you feel like, Loshi, you work with your female clients to balance, well, just have balance and not focus so much on what they look like, but more what they feel like?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is always focused on empowerment, right? Like what things, what lifestyle changes make you feel empowered? Is it like what form of physical activity makes you feel empowered? What communities are you a part of that makes you feel empowered? So it's like kind of navigating and having conversations outside of nutrition too. And I find myself regularly doing this, because, the exposure definitely matters. Right. And I think it's always so tough for women. I feel like it was already so tough for me. And so, I can't imagine how much worse it is for like women too. Because I've seen like my loved ones, my loved ones struggle too. I think part of it is just helping talk about conversation and thinking about non-skill victories. Are you guys familiar with non-skill victories too? Yes. I'm sure that you guys were 100%. Non-skill victories, right? They're just feeling better, having more energy, improved mental clarity, less food noise. Those are all things that come with better lifestyle management and really helping people, again, find things that they actually enjoy, find things that they love, and find a balance between saying that this helps me with this at the cost of this, but that's okay as well, right? Just kind of diving into every layer: sleep, physical activity, nutrition, all of those.
Well, and I'd be that client. I would be that female client who would come to you with a history of anorexia, a history of binging. I never purged like purposefully, but I spent a year or two where I was just throwing up literally everything I ate. So I have, and then all the tests and everything that came with that. And I still have relapses every once in a while where I'm back not keeping anything down. But also then super restrictive. I had a very physical job, but then I go to the gym for 2 hours afterwards. And then I did the like string cheese, oatmeal, only, steamed veggies. Like I am that client. And speaking for all of my female clients that I help through this noise, because I have a lot of women, we are chronic illness, we are autoimmune disease, and I fully know I did it to myself by being on birth control, by starving, by overtraining, by like trashing my endocrine system. If someone like me or one of my clients were to come to you, because of course you're going to be a referral source for me and my clientele, of course. And I would love for them to hear the safety with coming to you with that level of fitness, nutrition, health, body, like almost betrayal / trauma. Cause there's a lot of times where I feel like my body, I'm at war with it because it's like, well, I'm giving you everything you want, but you're still not like taking care of me. I'm coming to you as a prospective client. How would you meet me in where I'm at emotionally to make me feel safe enough to be vulnerable with you? Like I am 100% vulnerable, too much, but like if I was coming to you as my client or as a client and wanted your help, because obviously I'm going to refer you, how would you make me feel safe and comfortable, be able to share all of the stuff that I just shared?
In plain, I guess, I don't know if this is like, maybe in plain terms, I think I really focus on understanding, trying to live through what you lived through, and also understanding at the same time that I'm never going to fully understand what you went through. I feel like that's true empathy, right? Just understanding that I didn't go through the same experiences that you had. I didn't live in your shoes, and really focused on hearing out everything that you have tried, everything that you gone and pushed your body through, and how that's made you feel in the process. I like to ask a lot of reflective questions of saying, how did that make you feel? Why, how did this help you with X, Y, and Z? What were you trying to track? What were you trying to do with this? Did you get what you were hoping out of these things, And why do you feel certain ways about certain diets, certain foods, and so forth? And then from there, kind of talking from a more of an educational standpoint of like, and more neutrally, this is what happens. These are the things that happen. It's okay too, because again, diet culture, I feel like I blame diet culture a lot, and it is a reality, especially for a woman too, because it definitely impacts them even worse. So validation, education, counseling, and then asking people to, over time, give themselves grace as well too, because they didn't know any better,
Yeah, very, very, very well said, Loshi, because one of our big things is seeing people as the whole person. And it definitely sounds like that's the approach you would take first and foremost. And I really appreciate the empathy that you mentioned, because I think, I don't want to stereotype, but I think when people go into their profession, they kind of end up being more of like an authority figure. Like people are going to come to me and then I'm going to help them. But the help is kind of like I know better than you. Right. So that's not what I'm hearing from you, Loshi, which is amazing. Like me and Bethany also try to be complete and utter equals and do our best to walk in those other shoes. And so I feel like that's a wonderful place to start for the whole person package. And then you can work from there.
Yeah, no, it's like, I feel like with a lot of visits, medical consultations and stuff nowadays, it's a lot transactional, right? Well, how do we get as many people in through the door and out the door so we can make more money? It's become another corporate, or it is corporate essentially, right? And we've kind of lost that personal touch. This is pretty generally speaking, but I do firmly believe that there are still good providers out there. They are definitely harder to find. I cannot tell you how hard it was to find like a optometrist that I trusted, to find a dentist that I trusted. I'm sure many people have like horror stories, and like once they find someone that they really like too, like that means a lot to them. It's like someone that they can trust, you know? So definitely agree. It's so important.
Yes, very important.
You did use a term that I think our listeners, that is very normal to us, but I think our listeners may need it explained. Can you explain food noise? And when we talk about food noise, what that actually means to the everyday woman?
Yeah. So food noise is when someone thinks about food, and that could be any food. That can be your cake, cookies, sweet desserts, or it can be something savory, even when you are not physically hungry. And it's very much kind of like a craving, and it kind of interferes with your day to day. Let's say you're working on your desk, you can't focus on working because you're thinking about what to eat, thinking about maybe perhaps the donuts that were sitting in your cabinet or some snacks that you still had left in your fridge that you didn't finish yet. It's very, very strong when in people that don't eat enough. And it's very strong in women, especially due to hormonal reasons, and especially if someone has insulin resistance. Those food noises is very common. I think a lot of people can relate to it in terms of like, oh, they think about food even when it's not mealtime. They're not trying to think about food. So, and it interferes a lot. So, yeah, it's especially worse, like I mentioned, with people who have like insulin resistance, and metabolic disorders. Like those are when it is most prevalent, and it becomes a bigger problem for those people because it creates this cycle of like, oh, I'm constantly thinking about food. I need to eat. I want to eat. And then it never really ends. You may eat something and you're still thinking about something.
Okay. So Loshi, so this is my first time learning about this. So is the bigger issue that people are eating when they're not hungry? Like, so is that like how it can snowball?
Yeah. So it exists because there's a mistrust in your body, as in your body doesn't know when it's going to get fed enough. And so it signals to the brain that you are craving foods. It increases your appetite hormones. You're thinking about food even though when you don't want to, but that's just because your body's just trying to protect itself. Your body's trying to protect itself by telling you, hey, I need to eat something. And I know that you left some snacks in the drawer. I know that you left some leftovers in the fridge. It's just a self-defense mechanism. And the best way to overcome it is to build that trust again. Right? So.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Like fight or flight from a food perspective of like, I don't know when my next meal's coming, but I know where food is. Like if you break it down from the very basic mindset of like back when we were living together in pods of humans, you know, you didn't know where your next meal was coming from, but you didn't have, you know, all the snacks that were in the cupboard. You had to go hunt the said next meal because you had to go kill next meal or pick it or pull it from the ground or grow it. But instead now it lives in the kitchen or at the gas station or at any food chain that you can very quickly drive through.
Yeah, the food accessibility is definitely greater. And yes, no, definitely. I think I love that analogy. It is just a fight or flight. Your body's just trying to survive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the goal, if you have food noise, is to realign your brain and like your actual like stomach of here's when I really do need to eat
Yeah, it's building that trust of saying, hey, I am giving you enough food. When we can't rely on internal cues to regulate our hunger, we need external cues. And that's something I teach my clients all the time. Like, the reason why you're overeating at night is because you're just not eating enough during the day. And they go, that can't be right. They try it out and they're like, I'm not hungry. I can't eat as much in the evening anymore. Who would have known, And so this is so prevalent, especially in people who do intermittent fasting, right? Or do like, 1 meal a day, right? So it is just giving yourself permission to eat and eating something that is nourishing and that's going to help you throughout the day before your hunger, like your appetite takes over and you start eating something that you weren't meaning to eat. So.
Okay. Very helpful. Okay.
Yeah, I think people just don't know how much they actually need to eat too. They don't realize it. They don't realize that they could be eating perhaps like 500 calories extra and be at the same weight and have so much more energy. Metabolism and energy balance is so much more complicated.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's very. As someone who didn't study it, it's extremely confusing. Because the regular like society and culture messaging around food is very mixed. I don't know, because some people do say eat 1 meal a day, and then other people say eat 7 meals a day to speed up your metabolism. And if you don't actually learn it and you don't really understand your body, or you've had bad habits your whole life, it's really hard to know who to listen to and what's right and what's wrong. And I feel like you were saying, Loshi, like, maybe does anyone know naturally what they need at this point?
No, definitely not. Yeah, because people will underestimate the amount that they need to eat and then overestimate the amount of more processed foods or refined sweets and things that aren't as helpful for their energy. So yeah, it's. I think what I was trying to, have you guys heard of the phrase practical hunger or the term practical hunger? So to combat food noise, one of the things I teach all my clients is to practice practical hunger. Practical hunger is eating even though you may not be physically hungry, but in an effort to reduce or prevent yourself from overeating later. So just being practical about your hunger. Like, hey, if I don't eat this, I'm probably going to be really hungry for dinner. If I don't eat my lunch, I'm probably going to be very hungry for dinner, right? So I teach practical hunger when people are saying, hey, I'm not hungry at this time. But I'm like, but your body is. Your body is hungry. And we need to build that trust again. And I think I think what's amazing too is that your body's really resilient. Your body adjusts to what you're trying to do. When you teach your body, hey, I am going to eat something at this time, and it's again the external cue, then your body will start going, hey, actually, I think I'm getting enough food. I don't need to be freaking out later at night and making me eat a bunch of Oreos at the end of the day. And then over time, over like a couple of days even, you will start to realize that, hey, actually, I think I am starting to feel a little bit hungry at breakfast. Your body is a very adaptable thing, right? It can adapt to your hungers, and it's like that self-regulation that I was talking about. So.
Actually, that was very helpful because all of these things are very, very new to me. I don't think I purposefully eat yet anyway. So it's nice to know that the changes can be very doable and very manageable. And if anyone needs help, they should go see a dietitian.
So they should go see Loshi because he works with the whole United States.
Ideally Loshi, but please don't Google and please don't, just follow influencers who probably have a very, very different life experience than you.
Yeah, no, I think there's one advice that I want people to take away is that no, they don't have to necessarily see me. I will always welcome in anyone that wants to come through my doors, but please don't Google the answer to all your problems. Please don't chat GPT it. Don't go online and try to figure everything out yourself. It's okay if you do. It's okay if you have curiosity, but bring that information to a qualified professional, whether that's me, Bethany, Aria in the context of mental health, or another licensed professional, and really see if they are meeting you where you're at, and or if they're only trying to teach you simple, most effective ways and so forth. Shortcuts, right? Shortcuts don't exist. They don't exist.
I actually want to switch just a little bit to something that I'm super passionate about. Loshi, can you also speak to accessibility and affordability of eating and what that can look like when you do live in a food desert, or you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, or you're in somewhere where you don't have the walkability or the mobility to get to a grocery store, or the affordability for Instacart? Just like what is something you can do to help yourself feel better when there's a lot of exterior limitation?
I like that. I think that's a question that we're still trying to figure out, because it's an ongoing problem, right? I guess help yourself focus on what you can manage, meaning that and utilize, I guess also, I think part of it is just not knowing all your resources. What are your resources? What are your free resources? What can you take advantage of? And I know they are limited, but they are resources. Taking advantage of, food shelves or free food that you can get, frozen things when you get the opportunity to as well too, frozen produce. I would say, again, coming back to focusing on things that you can do, focus on things that you can do, such as like if you can't eat a healthy diet all the time, but you have the time to, let's say, work out or exercise or do something. It doesn't even have to be a structured workout. Then do those as well. It doesn't have to be strictly focused on food and food quality when you're just trying your best and still utilizing all the resources that you have. I wish I had more for you. But honestly, this society is not set up for, we don't have a good structure.
Well, no, you can feed a family of 5 at McDonald's for way cheaper than you can feed a family of 5 by going to the grocery store, especially if mom and dad, or only mom or only dad, work, and then the oldest sibling is taking care of said children once they're out of school. Like, you can't be making, an elaborate meal and going to the grocery store, because you can run through McDonald's and feed a family of 5 for maybe, I don't know now, I haven't been in so long, $40, $50 maybe.
It's so expensive now. It breaks my heart, because even the simple things are becoming pretty expensive, and prices of everything are going up. So it's that's one of those things. A little bit earlier, we were talking about privilege. Being able to eat in these most healthy ways is also becoming a privilege on top of survival. So it's really sad, because in general, I'm sorry, I'm going a little off topic now, but it breaks my heart, because health is our number one thing. That's all we have as people. And we can barely do that in this country right now. Mm-hmm. It's so sad. And people are literally choosing between rent and meals. Mm-hmm. So we need to have just sweeping change. Just sweeping, right? But I think I really appreciate your question, Bethany, of if people really want to focus on nutrition and their health from the inside, what can they do if money is an issue? Because I think a lot of people are at that point. So, yeah.
Well, and when you see those communities and you've been inside of those communities, you can't give them just eat more fruits and vegetables level advice, and our podcast spans actually into different worlds or different countries. So it's cool, but also like not everybody has the privilege and the access that we have here in Southern California. So I also just want to like speak to the fact of like doing your best is fine, and the internet's just going to shame you no matter what. So don't go to that as a resource, because it's always going to tell you you're not doing something right. If you're doing your best and you're moving yourself and you're living your life and you're getting to work and you're not desperately sick every single day, you're doing okay.
Oh, the bar is low.
Yes, it's very low right now.
Yeah.
But sidebar, sorry, I'm very passionate about that and that. So I apologize, Loshi, that we kind of got off on a tangent.
No. Sorry, Loshi.
No, I love it. I live for that too. I agree with everything you guys said. It is really such a struggle. And I think I just wanted to add here too, it doesn't help with the hierarchy of food, of like, certain foods being labeled as better for you. And so people will inherently always feel like they aren't doing the right things. They're not choosing the right foods. And then the guilt comes. And that just eats away at them too. But there are things that people really don't need to focus on. It's not that important. Like, I'd rather you save extra $3 on a non-organic vegetable versus an organic vegetables, because that organic label, it doesn't mean anything. So, not especially in your situation.
And if you live anywhere near a farm, they will give you the ugly stuff most of the time for a really good price that they can't sell in the store. Imperfect Foods built a whole brand around it, but there's a lot of like farmers and everything like that where it's like if they have extras or they have like bruised or damaged, only part of the fruit or vegetable is not really eatable. You can cut it off and get some really decent nutrition from other people's quote unquote trash.
Yeah, no, definitely. I have a grocery store right downstairs, actually, that is like a grocery reject, where they get a lot of things that aren't approved. And I take advantage of them all the time. They don't look good, but they certainly taste good, And they're really cheap.
I love that.
So I think we're also taught that like an apple's supposed to look like this and you can't eat it if it doesn't look perfectly off the commercial crisp, whatever. But they're still edible. You cut off the gross part, it's still completely edible. It's not covered in bugs and dead, and it still tastes just as fine. So it's like the realities of like what you can and cannot eat. Don't expect perfection, because perfection is privileges for people who make lots and lots of money and live in different places. That's not the everyday reality now.
No.
I cannot tell you the amount of times I've had like certain patients that I had while I worked in the hospital that told me that they wanted to be put on different tube feeding formulas because it was organic. And I was like, oh, well, this is better for you because it has better nutrition profile for you. And they're like, no, I want the organic one. And I'm like, okay, this is definitely very much a privilege, and it does not help your situation. But I will educate you, and if it's still your decision, then it's your decision.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it definitely shows up. I don't know why I added that. I think I still hold something against that person, but I was just trying to help out.
Hey, I have all kinds of interladen nuances when it comes to those people in those societies and the excess from that. Because as a very small business and a struggling small business owner, I'm on the rice and bean diet of as much as I possibly can. And then every once in a while when Aria and I have girls' night, treat myself to like a $5 or $10 eating out type of deal. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like the other situations always scream like privilege, and naturally can irritate me. So maybe I'm just partially venting at this point, but
no, I vent a lot. Because it's really like people like us we're going to speak for everybody. And so I think that's why we end up going on tangents about where we are societally and culturally, because we're seeing the harm it's doing. And it's absolutely fine that we're helping who we're helping, but there needs to be a better baseline for human beings in this country. And it would solve a lot of our physical health issues, mental health issues, if we were all in a place of like safety and security. And so I'm also speaking to the listeners right now, because like I know I go off on like capitalism and millennial money, but it's just because it does lead to mental health issues at the end of the day. So we needed just a better baseline for health and mental health, period. And a lot of problems are going to be solved, or we can be privileged enough to work on other things, but we are in decline right now, and I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, I think it's really normalizing that, right? Normalizing that we are in a capitalistic country and that we don't have things set up for us properly or well to be effective in taking care of our health. So it's just labeling that and saying that and repeatedly saying that, so people feel less shame about where they are and how hard they're trying and with the results that they're trying to get. It's very, very important to normalize that, and I fully agree with that. And a lot of my conversations with like clients is just like kind of normalizing that. Hey, these are the things that are working against you.
Yeah.
So let's be less hard on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Loshi. Yes. Like it's validating. Like this isn't you. This is our society. Bringing you down is part of this society right now. Yeah.
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 No, I love that. I do want to like definitely like, I'm glad that you guys talk about that in your podcast. So,
yeah.
Because there is a lot of shame. There is a lot of blame. There's a lot of you're not doing enough. And I know that, the listener base that I've personally talked to, they appreciate the fact of the validation and the fact that we are just three humans having a conversation as humans, rather than being like, you should do this and you should do that and you should do this. And it's like, well, my bank account says no.
You should do what you're able to do.
So is there anything else either of you want to add to this conversation before we put Loshi out there and say everybody go work with him if they want to?
There's nothing I want to add, but I would love to hear, Loshi, if people do want to talk to you, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, no, great question. So I am a completely virtual practice. So you can reach out to me by going to www.grainbygrain.co, not .com. That probably won't get you anything. And you can fill out the form on my website. I do have my number there too. If you'd like to schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me first, you're more than welcome to do that. I always welcome that. So just to make sure that I'm also a good fit for my clients as well too. I don't want to work with clients that aren't a great fit for me, or maybe I'm not a great fit for them. Maybe I'm not what they're looking for too. So and then from there, we either could do cash pay or insurance, and we could like kind of hash out the details of whether or not you are fully covered or not if you're using health insurance. So health insurance I do accept currently are Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare, and Aetna. At least that's relevant to the state of California. I accept some other ones, but they are local to Minnesota. So unless you're listening to this, but you can see all my insurance listed on my website too. So.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you. Well, I really, really appreciated this conversation, Loshi, and I actually feel motivated to work on my nutrition a little bit. So thank you.
That's a win for today.
Yeah. But I'm just so grateful that we met you and that you also see people as a whole person. I cannot get enough of hearing that. It's so validating. So thank you.
Thank you for being with us for this powerful conversation. We hope it gave you the knowledge and the clarity you need for your month.
If you found yourself nodding along today, don't keep this to yourself. Share this episode with a woman who needs to be reminded that her story is valid and she is not alone.
You can find all links to our guests, the resources we mentioned, and of course, the direct link to Head to Toe Strength in the blog show notes.
We'll be back next month to continue bringing you out of the maze and back to your center. Until then, remember to be seen, be heard, and keep choosing the path of genuine strength. Take care.